Welcome back. You're watching NewsX with me, Riyad Dwivedi. Iran launched a missile strike on southern Israel on Saturday night, hitting the towns of Dimona and Arad in what is being described as a retaliatory move following strikes on Iran's Natanz nuclear facility. The attack left more than 100 people injured across both locations, with Arad seeing around 80 casualties, including 10 in serious condition, while Dimona reported more than 30 injured, among them a 12-year-old boy. Dimona, which is home to Shimon Negev Nuclear Research Center, which was reportedly among the intended targets, although Israeli reports confirmed that the Nuclear Research Center itself was not directly struck. Instead, missiles hit residential areas, damaging buildings and injuring dozens, with at least one structure taking a direct hit. In Arad, the impact was similarly severe, with residential buildings struck and heavily damaged, prompting large-scale emergency response efforts. According to firefighters and initial reports, 2 ballistic missiles made direct impact, tearing open the fronts of buildings and carving craters into the ground. Interceptors were launched in response, but failed to hit the incoming threats, allowing the missiles carrying heavy warheads to strike populated areas. Israeli officials said air defense systems were activated but did not intercept the missile, and visuals circulating from the ground appear to show attempts by the Iron Dome to stop the incoming projectiles without success. And the Israel Defense Forces has said that investigation is underway into the failure. A series of videos and images emerging from Dimona and Arad captured the sequence of events and aftermath. In several clips, a bright streak of light is seen moving rapidly across the night sky before impact, while in others, interceptor missiles can be seen launching but failing to connect. Footage from multiple angles show the moment of impact as a sudden flash followed by a fireball and explosion near residential areas. CCTV visuals appear to capture a missile striking a building directly, while videos from inside homes show the shock of the blast, the interiors shaking violently at the moment of impact. Images from the ground show extensive damage to the residential buildings, with facades blown apart and debris scattered across streets. Emergency and rescue workers are seen at multiple sites working through the wreckage. Teams from David Edom are continuing operations, treating the injured and evacuating residents. Injuries reported include shrapnel wounds as well as those sustained by people rushing to shelters during the attack. Among the accounts emerging is that of a 70-year-old woman who survived after a missile struck her apartment building. Now, joining me on the telecast is Ambassador K.P. Fabian and former diplomat. Ambassador K.P. Fabian, thank you so much for joining me on the telecast, and good morning to you. Now, the latest developments that we are seeing is the tit-for-tat retaliation and the escalation continues. With earlier we have seen that Israel attacked and struck Iran's facilities, nuclear facilities. Now we have seen Iran has done the same as well. In terms of this tit-for-tat escalation, do you see any endgame in sight?
Well, naturally there is an endgame in sight on the part of Israel. Israel expects either Iran to surrender or Iran to be so weakened that the authority in Tehran cannot control what is happening elsewhere in the big country, and therefore Israel emerges as a hegemon in the region. That is from Israel's point of view. As far as Iran is concerned, so long as the regime survives, that is victory for Iran. But as regards when you say the end game, if you mean an end to this war, we are not seeing any clear sign thereof. In fact, I am afraid it is going to get much worse before it gets better, because among the parties, Netanyahu doesn't want an immediate end. Trump is sort of, saying one thing today, another thing 1 hour later. So Trump is contradicting himself. On the one hand, he says that military objectives have been more or less attained. Then his Department of War is asking for $200 billion, and Marines and sailors are moving, and now Trump has also come out with a threat to Iran, as you must have seen, that unless the Strait of Hormuz is opened within 48 hours, he would he would destroy power plants in Iran. So I'm sorry to say it's going to get much, much worse before it gets better.
All right, Ambassador KP Fabian, stay on with me now. That we have seen the videos, the aftermath of Iran's strikes